What's going on, everybody? We are back for another episode of the ABJ Podcast, episode 67, with the Menace from Mars, Rocket. Very excited for that one. He will be joining us here in a moment, but I want to just get some housekeeping out of the way. Everyone, thank you so much. This has been a crazy journey. I'm sorry I have been absent and not recording as much as I have been. As you can tell, new setup. I'm in my new location. It is quite a journey. It's been, but we're not quite over. Yeah, so just stick with me. It might slow down a little bit here on the ABJ podcast because it's just trying to find that balance in life again. I am going to start bringing the vlog back and let you guys in on a little bit of that. That's coming very soon. I'm hoping to bring some video game streams back, start doing the Not Cool in High School, the horror, the beer reviews, all that's still in the plans, but just life kind of threw me a little curveball. But if you guys can, links below to join the Patreon, as well as support the podcast by following on all social media, as well as merchandise. Grab some t-shirts, some ABJ t-shirts. There's hats. There's a whole bunch of stuff there. There's 2 different merch pages. There's a lot of selections, colors, anything you want. It's all there. Great logos by Haley Stokes, Chris Collins, logos by Hunter, Kai. Check them all out. They're all very talented. Intro music by Billy Trey, the Converse Kid. His links are there, and links for my guest will be below as well. And our sponsor, SVW Suplex Vintage Wrestling. Guys, it has finally happened. A whole store fully dedicated to vintage wrestling. They said it could never be done, but I've seen it with my own eyes. Suplex Vintage Wrestling is a store curated by wrestling fans for wrestling fans, located on 5th Street in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, just 1 block south of South Street in the heart of Queen Village. Their shop features the largest collection of vintage wrestling apparel under one roof, and their selection includes classic designs featuring your favorite wrestlers from the Golden Age, Attitude Era, Internationals, Indies, and more. And if you're tired of watching premium live events at home, then SVW hosts the best watch party since your friend Kyle's 12th birthday party. And if shirts and watch parties are not your thing, let's not forget their large selection of figures, replica belts, trading cards, and their t-shirts and hats of rare wrestling memorabilia. They have something for every wrestling enthusiast out there. So what are you waiting for? Check them out on Instagram at suplex.svw or their website, suplex.svw.com, and let them satisfy your nostalgia needs. That's going to do it there for the ad reads and sponsors. Make sure you check out the links below, like I said, to follow everything and support. Housekeeping out of the way. That was fun. Everyone in the chat, if you are hanging out, if you're watching this live, or if you're listening back on audio platforms, make sure you hit those 5-star reviews. Make sure you also say that you share and like. That helps out a lot. The YouTube side of things, so I think YouTube is changing up their format to become affiliated. They're going from 1,000 followers to 500. So check, we got that done. But you need 3,000 watch hours. We're just under 2. So the more you watch on YouTube, watch previous episodes, you're helping me become monetized. So make YouTube pay for me. So you don't have to. But without further ado, make sure you have your questions in the chat as well. It is an interactive podcast. We do have people come in and ask questions from the chat. So make sure you do that. But without further ado, let's bring in the Menace from Mars, Rocket. What's up, man?
What's up, bro?
No, I'm excited. And listen, we were talking off camera. I absolutely love the Ghost shirt. I'm a huge Ghost fan myself. I almost wore my Ghost shirt today, but I was gifted by a t-shirt by someone on the scene. Dylan Mesh gave me a nice t-shirt and a sticker. He delivered it to my house personally. So he's a sweetheart. So I'm rocking some Dylan Mesh merch for my boy here today. In the chat already, HCW Network says, "Hey, Rocket." And they said, facing Mike Skyros July 2nd for the HCW title.
Not even gonna lie, I'm excited for that. I was bummed out, I was a little ticked off. You seen how I walked in Smash Master about when he wasn't there, but I'm glad he's a little better now, so I can put him back out of commission. I'm taking that belt, man. It's been a long time coming. I keep whooping this boy over and over. I'm getting tired of it.
So you want that title? You want that title? Both members on this podcast, both were guests. Now you're officially an ABJ podcast guest, so I'm excited to see it as well. And that will be at Smash Master show in July 2nd.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's gonna be sick. All right, well let's get the obligatory first question out of the way here, Rocket. When did you fall in love with professional wrestling? What's your earliest memory of saying, like, this is my niche, this is what I love?
All right, so I might be wrong on the pay-per-view, but Survivor Series 2002, Kane and Shane McMahon. You remember he was like Kane was out here tweaking. He hit the tombstone on his mom. He electrocuted him. he got kicked in fire, came back. I thought that was the realest thing ever. So me seeing that, I was like, yo, who is this guy? And then Shane McMahon was just a superhero to me. I was like, you can't kill him. You can't stop him. So from that match on, I was like, nah, this is the realest thing ever. The Hurricane, yeah, it was just once I seen Shane McMahon and Kane feud and I was a kid, I was like hooked from that. And then the Hurricane I legitimately thought was real as a superhero. That's the whole different story, but I thought he was real.
I love that. I love that. It's so fun asking that question. I think a lot of podcasts just ask it to ask it, or they hear it from me and ask it. But throwing a little shade here today. But it's fun to hear what generation someone came from, or like I don't think there's many people who would say Shane McMahon was their first introduction to professional
Yo,
wrestling. Like that's crazy to think about.
people go and hate, but that coast to coast was something different for me as a kid. I was like,
Yeah.
no, he can. Whatever that was, it was just something like the most devastating move ever to me. And that's how I knew, like, when I used to jump on my grandma's chair, I used to do that move, put the chair up on my little cousin, or like put the pillow coast to coast. I just fly across the chair.
So you were a high flyer from the beginning.
Oh, yeah, I thought I was Jeff Hardy. It wasn't even like I thought I was gonna be a wrestler. It was just anytime I was wrestling or playing the games, I was the smallest growing up, so I always picked Tajiri, Rey Mysterio, and it's like
Tajiri is one
I
of my
usually,
favorites.
yeah, it's just
Bro, buzzsaw
usually the
kick was
smaller
always one of
guy.
my finishers.
The poison mist was like
A
I
huge,
want to low
yeah.
key do it, but that's gonna take a lot of
Please.
convincing after 2020.
That's very true too. It can come back, it can come back. But the poison
It's
mist
a
is one of my
comeback.
favorites.
I loved it.
So, fun fact, I'm a huge Masha mark, right? I love me some Masha. Masha did a poison. The first time I ever really seen Masha wrestle was Camp Leapfrog, and she poison mist during that match, and I was like, I'm sold. This is my favorite wrestler of all time. I like if someone poison mist, I'm all about it. I love the mist. I think it's so underrated. I love
It
it.
is so underrated. I think
Yeah.
if you use it wisely and like if you really how people use a low blow, if you poison mist, that will freak me out because it's like, where'd you get that from?
Yeah.
It's just, it's
And
just
it's one
so
of those things too.
unexpected.
It's like if you know, you know, but if you don't know and someone's watching for the first time, they're blown away by it.
Exactly.
Yeah. So good. So much fun. Um, yeah, so going back to Kane too, man. I remember his debut. Like I remember watching that pay-per-view live. I grew up with Sean Mark, as you could tell with all my Sean stuff. But
Hmm.
yeah, a huge Sean guy. So when Kane made his debut, I was like, what the hell is this? Like, yeah, it's fun. That's fucking dope. Um, yeah, so you said the video games were a big thing, and then just watching it through there. When did you start finding out life outside of WWE? Like growing up? I'm not sure where you grew up, but did you find the independent scene, or was that something that came later?
So I didn't know about the independence really. I grew up, honestly, I did martial arts and then I didn't know I could dance. The Michael Jackson game that came out, I was like huge on it. And then I did like a
The
talent show
Connect
at
one?
school. Yeah.
Yeah,
So I
yeah.
did a talent show at school and basically put that together with some friends. And then come to find out there was a recruiter for a dance team. So I ended up becoming a ballet dancer, a break dancer. I had to do all styles of this like dance school. And then
Wow.
that's how I kind of got the agility.
Yeah.
But
How much of learning the dance and the ballet and stuff learned how to do body control for wrestling?
man, I danced for half my life. So even when I was like not on the dance team, I still was doing background dancing for music videos or street dancing. I'm flexible, so at the end of the day, it's like I could get up right now and do something, but I'm not. But that's how it
Yeah.
is. It's like study capoeira. Those things just kept me mobile before but I wasn't like I didn't know about the independence. I just knew about WWE, TNA. I learned about the independence honestly as I got involved in it.
Mhm.
I mean, I've seen things like when I was people gonna hate me, but when I did backyard, of course I watched people and I was like, the independence
I don't think
was my
backyard is a
WWE.
bad thing to claim. Everyone has to start somewhere, you know what I mean? And wrestling school can be expensive, and if backyard is your first introduction, then there's nothing wrong with that.
And that's what it was. Everything was expensive and far. I live in Philadelphia and not many schools that aren't canceled or open, you feel me? So I couldn't really do nothing about it
You would have been
until
if that school didn't go through with its thing, you would have been a tailor-made fit for that place.
so once I started, I met my backyard friends. I didn't have any friends that met them, and then over time, it was just like we got involved into the school because we met people that seen us was like, hey, you should actually do the training. We see that y'all want to do this. Like, take these mats, take them home, cut these ropes, come to the school. We want you to do this the right way, and that's what we decided to do
Who
to
was the
allow
one
us
to give
to
you that advice?
Matt Tremont.
Tremont. So
And
Tremont
Danny
seen you in the
Havas
backyard and told you come through?
seen us in the yard, and he told us straight
That's
up, was like, I
crazy.
need you to come to the school. And once we did that, now look at us. I
I,
started with
I'm
Duncan
I'm
and Lean
so
in Vega.
curious. How did Tremont find out about you guys? Just social media?
YouTube.
That is awesome.
And like
Dude,
we
I
just
I already love Matt Tremont. That makes me love him more that he's actively looking like he's seen something in all of you guys, which is sick. 'Cause like I remember like going to H2O and obviously I was always sold to me as just the deathmatch place. And then I went and seen you wrestle and a bunch of other people. I'm like, oh, he's doing more than just the deathmatch. Like he's helping all forms of professional wrestling come out of this school. I absolutely H2O, I will tell you this right now, the summertime is hell. That is the hottest building I've ever been in my entire life. When you do
you
commentary,
telling me, man.
you have to go up a ladder and it's hotter even up there. I almost died in that building. But it's always going to be a special place in my heart because it was the first place that we got to take Camp Leapfrog from camp to a venue. So that's a special place in my heart. And Tremont was so welcoming to everybody who came in that day. And then it was the place I got to see IWTV 100, and that show will always go down to me as my favorite independent wrestling show of all time because so much of the independent scene was then that torch was passed for the people who were on TV to like this next generation of people, and it was a very magical show, and
Hmm.
H2O was the home of that, and I love it so much. Like I just love that venue. I love Tremont. I love his attitude and how he goes about everything. It's a great place.
No, it definitely is. That's my home, man.
So, what was it like going to a place like H2O? Obviously, they do the death match and the crazy shit, but also like how did that fit? How did your style fit into that, and how did they cater to your style to help bring the best out of you?
So first going there, like I wasn't really big on death matches. Not even gonna lie. So like I couldn't even watch them.
It
I
scares the
like,
shit out of me.
yeah, it was like, whoa, what is this? Was a lot to take in, but over time you get used to it, and like I kind of get excited though seeing the toys and putting them together in the contraptions. Like
Mhm.
I'm still not a huge on doing it, but like for my
Not taking
school
a
or
light tub
like,
anytime soon.
I mean, I've did light tubes are fun. I'm not gonna lie, but like thumbtacks, bar, all that, nah. I mean, this weekend we have the deathmatch event, but I'm not gonna lie. It's the actual anniversary of me joining H2O as the school, the 24th. That's the day like me, Vega, and Duncan Leam signed our name down to become professional wrestler, like to start training. So
Yeah.
we're going wild out, and it's a Full Metal Airstrike. And if you don't know what that is, that's my match. That's my specialty. So whatever I kind of want to do that day is all fair game. So if I want to bring a door in with a couple spikes on it, I'm like, hey, today's a tables match.
Yeah.
So it depends. I might hang some ropes up, and no, just keep an eye out for that. That's gonna be IWTV.
Yeah, I'll definitely watch it. My IWTV subscription is off right now just because times are tough for your boy, but I cannot wait to get it back because I have to get catch up. I have to catch up on so much. I feel like I've been letting the scene down because I haven't been watching, or I lost a lot of bookings because I can't keep my yap shut, and I don't want to work with weird people. So I lost a lot of opportunities, but you stand for your morals. We're kind of the same boat. You know what I mean? But it happens, you know what I mean? But when you're talented, I think you're the cream rises to the top, as they say. A wise man once said who ate Slim Jims. But how did the name and the moniker and the character of who Rocket is come about? Where do you pull from? How did the name come, the nickname?
So when I joined Backyard Wrestling, said, "What's your name?" And my shoot name is very weird. So people couldn't stick and remember it or say it right. So I'm talking to my best friends who I grew up with, and I call one of them my little brother. And he's like, I always seen you as a rocket. You're going straight to the top. Like, you're not ricocheting. He bounced all over the place. No, you're going to the top. You should be like a rocket. So from that point on, my little brother called me Rocket. When I was like 19, I was like, bet. I came back the next day to the backyard thing. My name is Rocket. They were like, all right, bet. And then when I went to training for wrestling, and when people were like, what's your name? I said Rocket. They're like, okay, whatever. And then they see me and they're like, that is your name. You're keeping it. So once
Yeah.
they got to debut and stuff, they were like, "You're not changing. What else? It's nothing to do." So I just stuck with it.
Yeah. It's I was in the same boat when you came out. First time I seen you was first time I seen you, you were in a multi-man match, and I forgot everybody in that show because it was a brewery show and I was drinking alcohol. But you wrestled in a brewery show in Pottsville. And then I went back and looked at the footage and I was like, holy crap, this kid was doing crazy dives to just concrete for no reason, just killing himself. It was sick. It was a great match. And then I seen you at a GCW settlement series show because at H2O, and you blew me away. Like absolutely blew me away. And like you did a whole bunch of crazy shit, but the thing that got me was your frog splash. You frog splash, but then you like Vince Carter dunked, like act like you dunked between your leg, and like listen, there's amazing frog splashes in the world. There's Montez Ford has an amazing one because he gets so high, and
Yeah.
Guerrero's is good. Ricochet. Prince Puma, whatever you want to call him, like there's a lot of really good frog splashes, but like I honestly think Montez has probably one of the best in the industry,
Oh,
and yours rivals him, which is insane to think.
what?
I really do think so. I think like the way you did the Carter thing, like, and then like you splash, and then the way you control your body after it to flip yourself back, it's it's beautiful. It's the coolest frog splash I've ever seen in my life. And from that moment forward, I was like, yo, this kid is going places. Like that, and then how you just said the rocket going to the moon, I was like, I agree with it. And how you're saying the breakdancing and stuff, like your body control, like the only other people I've seen on this TV that we watch all the time who has insane body control like you do is like the John Morrisons, the Ricochets, like everyone the Montez Ford, where they can just, it seems like they define gravity, where they change direction in midair, or like when your body hits, it seems like you take zero impact. It's super impressive what you're able to do.
It's crazy because I don't even think I rival up to like RVD, and that's too like I study when it comes to a frog splash. Like
Yeah.
you see, it looks like he gets shot in the stomach after he takes it. So I feel like I should ricochet off somewhere. Like I don't weigh that much, I'm a lanky
Hmm.
fella, so if I'm gonna jump on you and bounce off, I feel like I should have that launch off or something just to give
Yeah.
that to show how impactful the jump was at least, instead of just smushing you. Oh no,
Yeah.
I think it adds more to it. Some people may hate it, like it's extra, it don't make sense, but I think it adds that little comic effect, like
I
I
totally
like to
agree.
be extra.
Yeah, no, I totally agree. I liked how you come off it and then like bounce off and then like catch yourself with your arms, and like I think it makes it look better. And there's another thing about your style too that I really enjoy that I've seen over like with Smash Master and High Tension, all the places, is a lot of guys who are the high flyers. Sometimes they get caught up in what's my next spot? What's the next thing I'm doing that's gonna wow the crowd and do the flip thing? You know what I mean? And there's a lot of people, old school people, who shit on that style of wrestling, and I think it's stupid because there's a place for everything. But I think what makes you stand out, even in that aspect too, is you don't forget there's a crowd there. Like even though you're doing the crazy flip, you still have ring psychology. You still have, we're telling a story here. I need to take a moment here to play to the crowd. I need to take, because there's people who do a crazy thing and then just go right back into the match, and don't let that moment of let the crowd soak in what they just seen. Like you do a crazy spot and you let it breathe for a second. You know what I mean? Like I'm not like the Young Bucks where they hit a Canadian destroyer into six super kicks and it's just one after another, one after another, one after another. You give it time to breathe, and you space things out properly, and you structure matches very well for even being a year in the game. And that's only going to get better with time and working with so many different styles, as you're going to learn more about that. But being so new to it, I think that's what's making you definitely stand out.
Honestly, from day one, I was told, from Preacher, Speedball, Jadella, they all said the same thing when it came to me doing a flip in a match or something. They're like, it's going to take you time, but taking that moment. It's going to
Mhm.
take you time, but taking that moment. I was told that if I felt like I was going too slow, I should slow down. Like those things resonated with me over time. So when it comes to it, I also try to not force myself to fit wrestling because growing up, I was not a D1 wrestler in high school or nothing like that. I was a dancer. So the way someone would call a match, I would count a match. The way someone would remember their spots, I remember it as dance steps. So I had
Mhm.
to put myself in a different boat here and be like, no, I have to formulate it so I can understand it better. So when it comes to entertaining the crowd, I have an understanding that from a dancer's perspective of I'm not speaking to y'all, but my body language has to be big for y'all to see what I'm doing. Because honestly, no one's meaner than the dance world. You'll be 7 years old, get a score sheet, you'll win everything, and they'll say, "Yeah, you're terrible," and you'll be like, "What happened? I just swore I won." Though they're brutal, so that kind of puts you in a stage presence that you want to be in. Like I catch myself ignoring my colleagues backstage on accident because I'm trying to focus or I'm in my stage presence mentality of okay, the lights are on, the music is playing, I'm about to go out there, do my thing. And then when I come back, I'm back to normal like nothing happened.
Mhm.
So it really comes from the dancer side of just thinking and honestly just all the advice I received, I've really taken in. A lot of people blow off a lot of advice. I will ask you to repeat yourself 7 times so I make sure I got it down because it's like, please tell me these things because you are somewhere that I want to be. You were somewhere I want to be. So one day I want to be able to be in these positions y'all would be able to do, like walk down Impact, walk down AEW, walk down WWE. Those are just the things I want to do. So I want to be able to impress y'all in different ways and show y'all that I'm not just a flippy guy. I get those. Oh man, I get those all the time. I'm just a flippy guy, but I want to show y'all that I can tell a story. I can work. There's times that sometimes I psych y'all out. I won't flip until the end of the match. Sometimes I'll ask y'all how many flips I did. 5. I'll tell y'all I'll do 2 today on purpose and purposely do 2 and work the whole match wrestling and still impress you.
Yeah. Well, there was something recently announced besides this high tension match coming up for the high tension title. There's a match coming up in this beautiful place I like to call the Sanctuary, and you are working someone who is scary in this industry and someone who I think is an amazing opponent for you because like their goal is to incapacitate you and not let you be the hit flip guy. Will there be ropes? Who knows? We don't know. I think this matchup coming up, I think if people want to see another side of you, I think this is a great opportunity to do so because I think this is an opportunity for you to showcase something that maybe you haven't showcased with other people. He will be on this Thursday, so I'll ask him some questions as well. But it's a match that I've wanted since both of you's entered the Sanctuary, and that's you and Prince Ahmed. Um,
Mm.
yeah, that's gonna be absolutely crazy. Where how you said there, like almost you came off with the like the John Jones mentality. I don't know if you follow MMA or anything, but John Jones will say, "How can this guy?" Like he'll tell the media, "How do you think this guy can beat me? What's his best option to beat me?" And people are like, "Oh, he has knockout power." So John Jones will stand in the pocket and fight a guy for 5 rounds at his strength just to prove he can beat him. And like how you
Yeah.
just said, like I'm more than a flip guy. Like I can take on different styles. I can take on different opportunities. I can take like I'll purposely take away something that makes me special to prove that I can do something else. And being like how you said, you're coming up on a year in it, man. That's a good mindset to have.
Keep in mind, for Prince Ahmed, I want him to keep in mind something. At H2O, I walked to Matt Tremont and told him to his face one day, I'm not a bitch. He laughed and was like, what do you mean, Rocky? What's going on? And I said, you know what? I I see what y'all do here. Hardcore, deathmatch, all those banners, I want every one of those motherfuckers to respect me. So I asked those, like, you know what? Anytime, any place, I'll do it here. So that shows how willing I am to prove that point. I said that John Jones mentality. So when it comes to him wanting to just subdue me, be like, "Oh, we don't got no rope, so good. This is my type of match. I can wrestle." My tag team partner is a submission machine. You don't think he kicks my ass? Trust me, I'm prepared for this. I study my opponents. I'm not one of the people that's like books for this. I will sit there and actually pull up your clips and watch you and sit there and be like, okay. I will text you. You don't gotta like me. You can love me. I will sit there and be like, hey, let's do this. If not, we'll get in there and do what we gotta do. As simple as that. It depends how you want to take it, but Prince Ahmed, I promise you, I'm gonna give you the fight of your life. I already see what you can do with the leg German. Oh man, I'm prepared. It's so many things I was already just like looking at, and it's like, oh man, I wanna grab his foot, do this, spin him around, pick him up, roll him through, and it's just like
Yeah.
people gonna be like, all that action is just so you can hit him, and I'm like, yup, and I'm gonna super kick him and still slap my thigh at the end. What's up?
Yeah. It honestly, like what you just said about studying tape and texting your opponent and working things out is so special. And that's where I feel like this next generation of talent is that's where you're going to shine. Because a lot of people, I mean, let's pull the curtain back a little bit. They have a match, they're veterans, they've been doing it for a couple years, and then they show up and they say, "I'll just call it in the ring, kid." And those matches are fine, and they're very talented, and a lot of those matches go off pretty well. But when you look at some of the younger guys in the scene and you think to yourself, like, what makes them stand out? Why was that match so good? It's because you guys take it to a different level and use modern technology to your advantage of tape study and following people and checking what they do and like messaging them and like I that so it excites me so much more to see this match finally happen. And I didn't know that it was in the works. And I remember I just kind of like messaged somebody privately and I was like, hey, there's two people here that should probably square up sometime. And then his response was, I'm already ahead of you. So yeah, I'm very excited for that matchup. I think that's gonna be art, man. It's gonna be a great thing, and I think it's gonna be something that
That's definitely gonna be
footage
fun.
that I think you can send out to people and be like, "Oh, here's Rock in a submission technical match." You know what I mean? Like, it's gonna be fun.
No, I definitely if they want to and make it a submission match, I am 100% down. I will show y'all that I can work. I will show you. I will give you a submission match. There's no ropes now, so possibly I don't mind it either way. I'll throw on my Muay Thai gear. I'll take it back if I got to.
That'd be kind of dope if you walked out with Muay Thai gear. That'd be kind of sick if you changed your gear for that one.
I
I'd just
have
show
my
like
own stuff.
I'm here
I'll
for a
come
fight.
out.
That'd be sick. That'd be
I'll
sick.
let them know.
That'd be sick. So what has your experience been like coming to the sanctuary? Seeing, everything online and being like, well, what was your driving force to go check that place out? And how has your experience been since being there? You could be
Always
honest.
seeing clips of the people who just posted the cinematography. Always seeing clips, but what really convinced me was Hawthorne's entrance. The camera, it was the craziest thing ever, and I was like, nah, I gotta get up there. So I instantly hit up Hawthorne. I started asking people like, who do I gotta go to about this? Once I got the main information, and I was like, all right, I'm going, and I experienced it. I was like, that was crazy. I started telling all my wrestling buddies. I told Junie Underwood, Duncan and Lean. That's how the Lost Boys ended up there. I was like, no, we're going
I
up
love
there.
it.
I told Salim and them, so I just was like, everyone has to experience this safe haven of where you go just work art and have fun. It's safe. Everything was padded, so it felt like somewhere you could really practice your things and work on your moves. I
Oh, we didn't lose him here. Rocket might have blasted off. Hold on. Give him a second here. Yeah, while he's away for a second, the sanctuary is a bit amazing. The safety. Oh, hold on,
The sanctuary is a bit amazing. The safety. Oh, hold on, I hear him.
There we go.
Okay.
Can you hear me?
Go ahead, bud. Yep.
Go ahead, bud. Yep.
No,
A little bit of echo.
It like
You might
froze out.
want to
like,
leave and come back in.
You might want to leave and come back in.
The same link will work.
The same link will work.
All right, we'll give him a moment to reset there. But yeah, sanctuary is insanely safe, and it is about your safety and making sure you can go in there and train and do things and try new things out. But it also, if you take it seriously and you think of a storyline, or you come on a first Friday, or you prove yourself, it could be a very useful place to get some good footage, as well as a really fun experience. And I think the team that we have in place at the sanctuary is unlike it's ever been before. With the the past season 9 guys in this new season, and just the people who are involved in it now, I just think it's better now than it's ever been. And and more people, I think, are seeing that and coming through and experiencing it. And I think it's insanely special to be a part of the sanctuary now. And the doors are open for everybody, man. Keep an eye on First Friday shows. You can come through on a First Friday. And I like to think of First Friday shows as like open mic night for professional wrestling. You can kind of just come through and be like, can I get this match? And they'll be like, yeah, if you guys can put something together, go for it. And it's a lot of fun. And you can just kind of roll through on a Friday night and get some cool work in and get an amazing entrance. Can you hear me?
Yep, I can hear you.
All right.
We're all good.
Check. Perfect. All right. So what we were saying about being safe and working there and bringing your friends.
Yeah, it just was like a safe haven to like practice your stuff. I've seen people practicing dives there, and I was like, that's actually really cool. No one really does that at lots of places. They don't really be like, hey, let's practice a dive, and really will catch you with a suicide real quick. So it was like pretty cool to see how big on safety they really were. So as a high flyer, it just made me a little more comfortable to be like, okay, I could try practicing my stuff here and see that if I'm more comfortable, then I'll pull it out at other places.
Yeah. Also too, it was really cool to see is like a lot of the guys that were there early, because you got there pretty early, which I thought was a cool thing too, because a lot of people kind of show up like most people show up like very close to their match time or over call time. But you came very early, and I think a lot of the young guys who are aware who you are, that are new trainees of Sanctuary, were like, hey, they were picking your brain a little bit. They're like, yo, can you teach us how you do some of your high flying things? And they pulled the mats out, and you were very, very gracious with your time to be like, this is things I do, or things that you could try out. Or you were working with Zach Sander and a bunch of other people who are hungry, who want to get better. And I just think it's a beautiful place that people come together and help each other. And that's kind of where my next question leads into you is, you're obviously H2O is your home, and it's an amazing place to be. But like, how do you navigate looking at like, hey, if I go to this school for a couple, just to get a couple sessions in, or I see like, I hate to use an MMA reference again, but like this fighter has something I like. He has a good right hook, or he has a good kick. How do you navigate? Like, I'm going to go to this school just for do a couple training sessions so I can work with this guy. Like, are you about that? Have you done that? Is there any schools on your list that you would like to go and maybe pick the brain of some people because they may have something that you couldn't get, not get somewhere else, but you specialize in because you've done the tape study to learn about them?
I definitely get what you mean. There's definitely tons of schools I would definitely like to go by, like Nightmare Factory and stuff like that. Monster Factory too, and more so to be able to get a foot in the door, to be able to work shows too, also to be able to showcase my talent there, to show them that I could be able to do things there too. So
yeah,
it's honestly to expand my radius of shows and places to work at, so people can see, like I said, that I can actually go. This year I've really been traveling more and going out more, so I've been trying to do that. So I'll see usually clips of people training and stuff, and then I'll hit them up like and ask like, is it just a school, or do you showcase talent by having shows and stuff? And I ask about booking opportunities, and then if it's a packed roster, I'll still see about, okay, what are ways I can help? What days do I run? Okay, let's see if I can get a carload and see if we can go up. Or even if I do manage to get an opportunity for a school, I still ask like, hey, I got like 4 people I'm going to possibly bring with me, and I'll hit like a couple students up from H12, like, hey, what are you doing this date? You should go up there. Or even if I can't make it, it's like, I think you should definitely go up there. You probably like it. You told me that. You've told me about this worker you want to face. Well, he graduated from here, so there you go, at least.
Yeah. That is, I think, is so important as well, as just sometimes just get in the car and going to a show, and even if you're not scheduled to work.
Yeah.
I to this day, I not as much now because I don't have a car, but like I like to go to shows that I'm not even being used. And sometimes, if you carry some weight and people respect what you're doing, or they like what you're about, there's sometimes you may show up, and if your gear's in the car, you might get an opportunity to work that show. Like, hey, we have a scrambler, or we didn't have a scrambler, but if you 6 show up, we'll throw one on and see what you guys can do. That happens all the time. There's been times where I've showed up and they're like, you want to do commentary, or you want to do a backstage thing? And I'm like, Yeah, let's figure it out. So that's I think that's super important for younger talent to hear is just like get a car full, go to a show, and even if you're not used, just support. Just showing up and supporting a show will probably get you a booking the next time they throw one.
Yeah, it's definitely good to show up and definitely help out.
Yeah. So who are some people on the scene that you haven't that you've worked that if you were saying to seek out a match, if you working somebody, who would be some of those matches for the listener to seek out and consume those matches?
Like who I've worked already that like people should definitely look out for.
Yeah, yeah. Mm-hmm.
Definitely Andre Polino. Definitely him. He's definitely really good. Wow, so many. There's people who I haven't faced. I'm like already look out for because I'm trying to get matches with them.
That's coming up next. That's coming up next.
I wanna
That's part two of the
I wanna
question.
say like my homeboys for sure. Like I faced him so many times. Like Duncan Aline, like he's the funniest person I know. And on a microphone, there's not a lot of workers, young talent that will grab a microphone or want to talk for half an hour straight, and he will talk to the point where we'll be like, "Take it home, come on, man, get it, put it down." Like he's one of the greatest I've worked. Brian Nail, Cecilio Vega, like people that's underrated. JB Anderson. Even though I haven't gotten like full matches with certain people, like battle royale stuff, some people have definitely like kept me safe. I feel like, or like I felt comfortable around to want to work more. Leroy Robinson. I know I was just saying H2O people, but it's just like these are people who are just like young and hungry that people are like looking over and not looking at. So I want people to look at these people. Ryan Redfield.
Mhm.
It's like they're Ryan Redfield. Like these people are definitely slept on. I definitely would say a lot of people that you'll see shining in the indies now, but they got enough of it. Sorry, Terry, man.
Yeah.
We about to come see y'all soon.
You know what I love as well that H2O has done in the past, and they've done it at places like Psycho Circus and a lot of other places, where H2O will say, hey, let's do a collaboration show. Like, let's do H2O versus this school, where you bring your best guys, we bring our best guys, and we do like a Forbidden Door indie style. And I mean, it's kind of hard. It's kind of weird to say that because like guys do travel and go place to place, but it is a different vibe. Like it's been done at the Sanctuary too, where you had like the Johnny Rods Walker Clan guys come in and take on the Sanctuary guys. Like if you roll up with your H2O guys, it's like H2O versus Sanctuary. Like on commentary, you put over like H2O is another place that you can train if you're in the Jersey area. Like I just think those shows are a lot of fun, and they're great ways to get talent to cross pollinate and learn from each other, because that 15, 20, 30 minutes that you have backstage putting your match together, you learn from those things, and that's what makes you who you are as a wrestler as your career progresses, is taking those hours to put together a match and then go and doing the match and then talking about the match after and then collaborating with the locker room and being like, yo, what did you see, what do you think? And like those are magical special moments, and the more that you can do that and get people together and work that kind of stuff is really good. Yeah, I agree. American runs and Duncan did kill it this weekend. Duncan was very, very entertaining. He definitely popped the crowd a bunch just by talking in the ring.
Yup, and I'm telling you, look out for them. People these are people I want to open a door for. Like look, Jay
Duncan
Bougie,
versus
listen,
Sean Pratt. I just said it. Let's make that happen.
That would be great. Or like Jay Bougie, I worked him in the settlement series, and then like after that was probably the first encounter I had with him. I've seen him in a couple bookings, and then from that point on, he's became one of my closest friends. Like looked out for me. So it's like these are people that like I wish the best for in the business. It's like I want to walk in a performance center. You know that little picture they take. One like look over and be like, wait, oh y'all here? Like I would be see one of them moments. Like that would just make my day.
Yeah. Who are some people on the scene that you haven't worked that you want to? Now you can go wild.
Billy Starks, Nick Wayne. But that's about to be impossible. They they about to be up out of here in a second.
I don't think it's impossible.
Man, Larry Lazard, Teriyaki. Man, Nikolai White. I haven't got him yet. Even though it's people that like I'm really cordial with, really cool with at shows. It's like I haven't gotten a chance to even face him. Um, I want to rematch with Speedball, man. For some reason, that was really fun. I'm another one. Like I want to be able to show him some improvement. You know, like go through the list again and be like, all right, like be able to go back to Janela, be able to go back to Mercer and be like, all right, I got you now. Like the
You got
first
me in my
time
year
that
one. Like that's you're talking about you work those guys and you're in year one. That's impressive, man. Like
I'm trying.
yeah, that I mean like in your first year of your career, you've worked guys who are would be considered top echelon indie guys. And like some of those names are guys who have tasted Impact, who have tasted AEW, have been there and have seen that side of the spectrum. And you've got to work them your first year of your career. That's good. That's awesome. That's real. Like if
Yeah.
that's if 4 days is your year anniversary of signing paperwork to H2O and that's already your list of talent you've worked, bro, year two is going to be crazy.
I'm trying like it did come out of nowhere with it. Like I had to be patient. Like everyone tells you, you don't really deserve wrestling. Wrestling deserves, you. So it's one of the things where I
Mhm.
had to understand what that meant and take my time. So I'm grateful for everything, honestly. Like honestly, how it went, just like even with stuff coming up, y'all don't know about that. Like I'm telling you, man, it's stuff that is coming up that I'm just excited to even be a part of because of what wrestling has done for me, and I never would have expected this, and just never would expect I'll get to meet so much of these people in the business that I get to work with or just collab with. So many people that are friendly, just like you or any other people I meet in the interviewer space or just in the work industry.
So this is the one I'm clipping here. This is the match. Um, a booker needs to make this happen. This needs to be a match. He's on the scene right now. He's someone I respect very greatly, and I think to me this is a dream match. High flyer versus high flyer. You versus Lindsay Dorado.
Ooh, that'd be tough.
I need that.
That'd be tough.
Yeah, you have your stable. There's another stable out there called the Miracle Generation. That would be. There's a lot of really talented guys there. Ichiban is out there. Like there's some. I'm a huge Boomer Hatfield fan. He's a little flyer. He likes to fly around, but also tells really good stories. That would be amazing as well. Oh, Tina said I would love to see more promos from Rocket. People want to see those before match trash talking promos. Let's get that going.
So those honestly, I'd be honestly a little agitated in those moments. I'm not gonna lie. Like those promos, I actually have to sit there and think about like what's going on because I get actually really pressed and be like, you know what, man, now I gotta talk about this because sometimes it'll be like I gotta say something because like a lot of people, yes, I sit quietly, but I purposely do that because
Mhm.
I like the actions speak louder than words. I know eventually I have to speak, but I feel like the time will come when I really have to speak and break you down to size. So if it comes to it, then it'll be like, all right, now I gotta get on camera. But nah, I think I enjoy what I get into, Dale. The promos,
Mhm.
I think about them. I definitely try to get them out. Like I try to. It really depends. Like I said, I usually be agitated. So if I'm not really upset at it or nothing, I'm just like, hey guys, got a match coming up, you know. But
Yeah,
like, someone take me
yeah.
off, I'm like, all right, man, now I gotta drop you because we're not doing this.
Yeah. Gears of Kai, he's from the KC scene. He said, I'd love to see you in his KC scene and take on Kenny Alfonso. Hope I said his
Oh
name right.
yes. Oh yes. There's a couple people actually. So there's another person, Joe Lando. Yo, UK scene insane. I want to work him so bad, yo. He made it to America for GCW for like a weekend, and I think I had H2O that weekend. And I was like, dag, or he got injured or something. I'm trying to remember, but it was like we were trying to hang, and I was like, bro, I really want to work him so bad.
Yeah. So we're getting close to that time. We're at the 45-minute mark, so we are getting close to the end here. So if anyone in the chat, thank you everyone who's hanging out and watching. Make sure you hit those likes, shares, and make sure if you're listening on the audio platform, you get that 5-star review on Spotify. There is a thing on there as well where you can say, hey, what did you think of this episode? Please leave a review in there. That helps out a lot on Spotify. And the more people go on Spotify and write those little things in, that helps a lot. So question time, get them out, and we'll have some fun here. Tina says, I'd love to see him with TJ Epics or Trey Felipe. Dude, that'd be a good one. TJ Epics is very good.
That'd be a dope one. Definitely TJ
Yeah.
Epics would be dope. That would definitely be dope.
Yeah, that'd be really cool. Here you go. Precious Ruby Reno in the chat. What conditioning and training does Rocket do to stay ready to launch?
Honestly, you do. Yes, go to trading. If not, I go to gym. I'm a cardio junkie, so when I run on a treadmill, I do it as if I'm calling a match. So I'll go on the treadmill and say, all right, 4 minutes, and then I'm like, all right, I'm expecting 6 minutes, and then once I get to the 6 minute mark, I'm like, let me do my 8 minute match, and I'll stay on and like be trying to call the match as I'm there. And next thing you know, I'm probably on there like, all right, 35-minute banger, let's get it. And then when I'm off, I'm like, I just wait 45 minutes, no ropes. And I was like, all right, I'm good. And then I was like, all right, let's go ahead. But I'm honestly mostly cardio, I'm not gonna lie.
How
Definitely
much of your
stretch.
style is calling a match beforehand or calling stuff on the fly in the ring?
Honestly, my moves, I feel like I could comfortably call them in the ring. Like, even as flippy as they are, I feel comfortable enough to be able to position you and tell you where to stay so I can do the flip and you just be there to either catch me or stay there. So it really depends like how big the move is. If I want you to like catch me standing or so, I would say before the match, like, hey man, how do you feel about this? But for the most part, yeah, I'll give you a good easy run through. I know some people hate remembering a crap ton of things, so
I
I'll make
watch
it
you
very
guys put
easy to
matches
you.
together, and I'm like, there's no way I would be able to do that.
I call it during the match too. Like I don't just expect you to be like, all right, remember that? Good. When we're out there, I will talk to you the whole time. I will not abandon you. I will make sure you know what is coming next. Like I can't get to you, the ref will tell you something. I can't I can't abandon you there because I'm not selfish. I don't want to get all my stuff in. I want to make sure that you look good in a match, and we both just sit here deer in headlights. Then no one looks good in that situation.
Yeah, there was a match recently with actually you and Hawthorne where I don't know how much of it was on the fly or how much of it was just improv on the moment, but you went to do a rope spot and you slipped. And I don't know if it was a slip or if it was part of the like you had a misstep and he used it to then end the match. And I don't know how much of that was improv or how much of that was part of it, but I thought it was done so well because it looked like you had it. Like the way we sold it on commentary was you were about to hit him with this big move and that could have been it, and then he turned it into his finisher and landed it. But the way you slipped on the rope just a hair, it made it like it was just great storytelling, and it was a moment for us in commentary to grab a hold of it to be like, oh, Rocket almost had him. He could have came in here and beat two top contenders of the Sanctuary, but that one little slip cost him. Like moments like that where it might have been a mistake, or we don't know because we don't know how you guys put it together. But I thought it was done very well.
I call matches backwards, so it definitely was part of it. I've learned that calling them backwards is actually better because if it comes to it, you want to know the finish. At the end of the day, if something goes wrong, you want to know what to be able to get to, or like so many people call a lot of things. It's like the most important is the finish because that is what the crowd is there for. They're there for the climax of the match. Even if it's a fuck finish and telling a story to lead on to the next match, they're waiting for that. So that's what I'm usually there for. Is to make sure the finish is perfectly fine. So I would try to be like, okay, the finish is a choke slam. How are you going to get me in a choke slam? I'm a high flyer. Are you going to catch me in the air? Are you going to throw me around a little bit? Are you going to get me from down here? I have to figure out what's going to mess me up as a high flyer so you can get me there, depending on what's your styles too. There's people that's smaller than me and powerhouses, and they'll be mass wise bigger than me. And then I'm 6 foot and I'm high flyer. So it'll be guys like that work in those situations. It will be interesting to see how can I still make him look strong as he is. Like it's like me facing Otis. He's like 5'3", and I'm, you know, I'm towering him, but I know at the end of the day he could bench press me in sleep.
Mm-hmm. It's using your opponent's strengths to their advantage to make them look just as good as you want to make yourself look good.
I feel like it's in when you know how people go in there and then like they'll just call their stuff that they want to get in. I feel like it's important to take in consideration to call bumps you should take or volunteer some things. Like if I'm working an opponent and his finisher is a pedigree, I think it would be cool to possibly be like, you know what? I think I could sell a good pedigree. You know what? You want to give me pedigree today? Is that like your finish or like I think it's
Mm-hmm.
considerate to be able to know your opponent or at least ask them like, hey, what are some of your strong moves? Because I want to see what I can make look strong. If your strong move is a super kick, I want to make sure I make that look strong instead of selling it like a normal one, So I try to take that in consideration when I'm facing people like, okay, what are some of your best moves? Because you have to do at least 2 or 3 of them now. Like, we got to.
Mm-hmm.
And I will throw my body across this map just so you could get it out your system. I want it to look great. I'll spike here and there for you. So I want people to see that wrestling isn't just about getting your moves. I think the people are watching your selling more than watching your cool shit, honestly.
Yeah, and just coming back to your roots, it's a 50-50 dance. You know what I mean? As much as your opponent makes it look good, you can do the same. Rocket, listen. This is a great. I'm gonna say this is a great part 1 because I want part 2. I want to dive into more of you as a person and deep dive you more here. And if you're willing to come back, I would love to have you back sometime in the future. I got to get you soon though because I don't think you're gonna be around much longer, and then I'm gonna have to go through agents to get a hold of you soon. I really believe that for you. I seriously do. There's more I want to ask. There's more I want to talk about, like what you do outside of wrestling, your hobbies and stuff. But we are at the 50-minute mark, and I don't want to keep you too long. And you have some stuff you got to get done. But I want to thank you for doing this. It means a lot. I'm like I said, I'm a fan of what you're doing, and just keep killing it. I think your attitude, the way you conduct yourself, you're a megastar, man. And I'm telling people right now that are listening to this podcast, I've been saying it on commentary every single time I've been calling this match. Get Rocket while you can, because Rocket's going to be hard. He's going to be a tough commodity in the next couple years because he's going to be on your TV. He's going to be that Action Andretti on your AEWs and stuff like that. Like, so enjoy him on the scene while you can. As Precious would say, don't take him for granted because time with Rocket is very precious. But yeah, man, I appreciate you so much. Links below to follow Rocket on us on Instagram, on Twitter. Please, if you're watching this podcast, go follow him. Leave a comment on one of the things. Tell him what you thought of the podcast. And keep following him. There also is a Brainbusters Tee website. You can go grab some Rocket merchandise. Wear it now. I'm telling you, because pretty soon it's going to say AEW on the bottom of that shirt or WWE. You know what? Here's one last question. If now I know the answer here is the political answer is whoever will have me, right? There's not one over another. But if you look at both of those companies and you think to yourself, like, who would I want to work more? What company would it be the one you would sign to?
Out of AEW and WWE?
Yeah. Or even Impact.
Honestly,
I mean, you and Ace Austin would be a fun one to watch. I'm just saying, John Trotsky. That's
like of course, like I feel like I don't know why. Realistically, it feels more possible for AEW or TNA because WWE has so many like different things that happens every year where it just makes it harder and harder to get there. But
I
the
think you
thing
stand out enough that you would be an NXT star, and I can see you on the E. Like I really do. I think people think, and this is not a knock to AEW, but I think it seems more realistic because they love the indie scene a little more. But I honestly think WWE sees a guy like you, man, and they drool. I honestly do. And you and Ricochet is like my ultimate match of all time. Like are you and Montez Ford would be 2 matches that I would pay. I'd sell everything I own to see those matches.
like I definitely I feel like WWE because the biggest thing I want to do is have a WrestleMania entrance. I don't have to main event. I don't have to win. I could be pre-show. I don't have to have a big marching band. But the idea of walking down a WrestleMania ramp, you know how long it takes you to get down there? It takes you about 10 minutes.
I thought you were coming out last year. I heard your music hit.
See, you ain't gonna lie. I was so hyped seeing that. But I was like, oh, I hope I could keep using it.
Yeah. Well, get in contact with him. Like, hey, are you cool with this? Can you co-sign me here? Can you Get
You do me a favor.
We've been trying. I've been tagging them and putting every time you do an entrance, I try to put it out there for people to see and hopefully get little Uzi Vert to see because and to give you that. But he's a huge wrestling fan. You know that, right?
Yeah, man, I'm trying.
Yeah.
I'm a huge Uzi fan, so it's like, come on, man.
He might hang out a lot at this Suplex Vintage Wrestling every now and then. So I'm just saying.
I know he do it probably. I got to get up there.
Yeah. Anything in closing you want to get out there? You want people to go check out, see, support?
Definitely keep an eye out for this Saturday at H2O. Oh man, I forgot the hashtag already. It's the deathmatch tournament. Well, it's not a tournament anymore. It's a deathmatch event for the students. The Last Generation event. Please check it out. IWTV will be streaming at 8 p.m. That's a big event for not only just the school, but like I said, for me, that is the anniversary of me signing to become a professional wrestler. So like, I'm definitely going to have to one up a lot of my matches. I'm like 107 in. So I definitely got to one up a lot of those moments. Like, I know a lot of people hate it. Like, oh, you just want to be a viral clip, and it's like it's not that. I just want the right people to see it. I want the right people. I just want the right people to see it. That's all. So I'm gonna do what I gotta do.
A guy went viral spinning a pizza while wrestling, and he made it. He was on AEW TV for a week. You know what I mean? Like,
so it's like I just want the right people to see it. So once I get these opportunities in places, a lot of people be familiar with me. So it won't be that much of a hassle, you know. I noticed that's all it is really is the connection and social status. So I'm trying to keep a good name and a good image, staying out the way, honestly, because there's a lot of terrible people out there. So yeah, I'm just trying my best to just do what I can do, help people, you know, be positive, honestly.
No, I think the way you conduct yourself is brilliant. I think you're doing everything absolutely correct. The way, like everything you talked about today, the way you put matches together, the way you help talent, and like I said, you've worked in your first year names that people dream over, are people who have been in this business 20 some years who have never worked, and you're doing it your first year, but then go to a place like Sanctuary and work a kid who's even less time in than you are and give him a match if you would give the biggest guy in the scene. And I think just the way you conduct yourself and the way you present yourself and the way you do things, man, like I said, I think it's only a matter of time.
Thank you, man.
It's not if, it's when. It's going to happen. Just stay positive, keep doing everything you're doing, and it's going to happen for you. I promise. Just you travel outside your bubble. You put the work in, you put the grind in. I would do more of these, though. I know you said you don't do a lot of podcasts, and I'm thankful that I'm one of the rare ones, you know, that has had all this opportunity, but get your name out there, man. Just keep grinding, and you're going to blow this shit up.
Thank you, man. Yeah, I'll definitely
we lost your camera, but that's okay. I can still hear you.
Oh, there we go. No, I definitely like we'll do a part 2 with you for sure. Yeah, I never really either. I haven't really like been offered, or at times, honestly, when people would ask, I would definitely just like be at a show or something, so it'll kind of like cross my mind and pass me, and I hope a lot of people don't get discouraged or like upset about that. I'm not being rude or nothing. I'll be like, bro, I'd really be like, I'll be doing something and I'll completely forget, and I'll be like, oh my God, I'm sorry.
That's what I try to tell people in this podcast space. I think a lot of podcasters go to wrestling shows and they bombard talent with, hey, I'm a podcaster, or hey, let's do this, or let's set something up. And there's a way to do that, but also you have to realize, like, when you're at a show, they're being paid to be part of that show. They're being paid to put on a performance. They're being paid to get in a right mind state to put a match together. Like, your job as a content creator should be make an impression, but also respect the fact they're doing a job as well. This is not a hang up for them at a wrestling show. So you got to conduct yourself a certain way.
Yeah. Some people can be a little overwhelming with it, and it can be like that for sure.
Yeah. So there's your advice from ABJ to you podcast out there. But dude, thank you so much. I appreciate your time. Like I said, part 2 coming up. We're going to learn about, you know, what you're into. And like I said, dude, you wear the ghost shirt. I wanted to talk to you for hours about music, but I wanted to get this origin story out there, and I wanted people to hear about you and hear about you as the person. And like I said, man, just keep killing it. You're fucking doing awesome. Links below for not just ABJ, but for Rocket. Buy some merchandise. Buy merchandise for both of us. You know what I mean? Wear your ABJ and Rocket shirt. And let's get that support going. Follow us on social media, and I'll see you on Thursday at 7 p.m. for the much anticipated interview, first ever with Prince Ahmed, and you'll be seeing him square up very, very soon at the Sanctuary against Rocket here as well. But thank you guys so much for hanging out with us. We'll see you next time. Here's some outro music by the Converse Kid, Billy Trey. And if you're a wrestler or a podcaster or need music, hit this guy up. He's amazing.